had won here by 1-0. Alan Sunderland scored in the return leg, but it wasn't enough as Red Star netted very late on through Dusan Slavic to make sure of progression. Arsenal will be hopeful and expectant, despite a mix and match side with plenty of youth in it, to do a little bit better this time around. It is a magnificent arena. Let's check on the two teams for you. First of all, Red Star, who make two changes from the side that defeated Mačva Šabac last time out. Gulo Kanga and Slavoljub Srnić are recalled. Richmond Boyakia is very much the danger man. The Ghana international can boast 11 goals for club and country this season, and while he didn't make the grade at Juventus, he proved himself at Latina in Serie B last term, scoring 12 times in just 14 starts. On the bench, Nenad Milihas will be a familiar name to Premier League watchers. In a 3-year spell at Wolves, he was sent off against Arsenal at Emirates in a 1-1 draw some 6 years ago. There is talent in the ranks of Red Star, there is no doubt about that. Can they put it together tonight? Arsenal will be hoping that they stutter and stumble and that the Gunners' class will out in the end. But this is a raucous atmosphere, and it's one thing to quieten down this crowd, that is for certain. We've seen Red Star already play some good football in European football. They haven't played too much European football over the last decade. They've struggled to make it through to the group stages of both the Champions League and the Europa League. Our referee, incidentally, is Benoit Bastien. The French official took charge of Tottenham's defeat in Belgium at the hands of Ghent in February. That saw the Gunners' rivals ultimately crash out of the Europa League, while he also studied Manchester United's group stage success over Fenerbahce in the same competition last term. 4 Ligue 1 outings this campaign. He's awarded 4 penalties. Just Petr Cech and Mohamed El Neni keep their places from the 2-1 loss at Watford in Arsenal's lineup, so 9 changes all told. There is a recall for Majid Abushi, who hasn't featured for the first team for almost a year when he limped off against Bournemouth in the Premier League. But the Frenchman did play 45 minutes for the under-23s on Monday in the Gunners' 2-0 win over Sunderland. Reiss Nelson continues in this competition, as does Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Joe Willock. There is plenty of talented youngsters for Arsene Wenger to choose from, and there is even more on the bench. The 7 listed there all played for the under-23s on Monday night. Well, it's a big night for a number of players, that is for certain. Can Olivier Giroud lead from the front? He's been excellent in European football for the Gunners. And we're underway in Belgrade. It is Red Star Belgrade versus Arsenal in the Europa League. And the Gunners will hope to quieten down the crowd. That is the first thing that they will hope to achieve. They are the quality opponents, the class act in this competition. They will expect to go all the way. But you do sense that this is going to be a test here. Not less the atmosphere, but Red Star Belgrade, a talented bunch, as we know.
Yeah, absolutely right, Dan. And they come into this unbeaten still in the Europa League. 2 points behind Arsenal. They've taken 4 points from their first 2 games. Winning in Cologne on match day 2, no mean feat, given the season the German team had in the Bundesliga last season. And in the cauldron-like atmosphere, it's going to be very difficult for Arsene Wenger's young team this evening.
It's a ball that's nicked towards that right-hand side. It's an awkward-looking shot and maybe a foul, but Jack Wilshere gets away with that. Maybe just a small shove in the small of the back of the rampaging Srnić, 25-year-old striker who scored 3 times in the league this campaign. He can boast 4 cup goals as well, including 3 in the Europa League in the early stages of it. Red Star Belgrade started their journey in this competition in the first round, one of only 4 teams to make it through to the group stages. So they are battle-hardened in this competition. Just wonder how ambitious they are going to be, given the fact that, as you mentioned, Nick, they've had a good start to their European season. Would they take a point against Arsenal? Maybe this is the first of the double header, of course. The return leg, the return match comes up in a fortnight's time.
Well, yeah, and even at this early juncture of the group campaign, they're 3 points ahead of Bate Borisov in the 3rd place. So I think they probably would take a point this evening, Dan. Having said that, though, playing in an atmosphere like this, they're going to have a real advantage. The Gunners are going to make sure they neutralise that in the early stages, keep possession, quieten down the home crowd and try and strike early as well, as they did, of course, in Borisov on match day 2.
Well, we've got a problem here to one of the Red Star players, and it looks to be Gilberto Silva, who's a Gabon international. He's waiting with a couple of goals this campaign as Arsene Wenger looks on. 6 last season after a summer move from the Russian side Rostov. Wasn't prolific in Russian football, just 7 goals in 70 appearances in the Russian top division, but he's found his feet and his form. He's suggesting that there was a stray elbow somewhere along the line, I think, judging from the motion he's making. Let's take another look at this. Who is the culprit? Well, there doesn't appear to be too much in that one. It's Maitland-Niles and Coquelin battling away. Yeah,
Maitland-Niles actually did really well to win the ball off Kanga, and as you said, Dan, didn't really look to be too much in that at all. Interesting, actually, with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We spoke to Arsene Wenger before the Borisov game, and he said that he does see his future as a defensive midfielder, but he's playing here once again as Arsenal's left wing-back.
Stojkovic with the neat play initially. I think the flag is going to go up here. That's poor play from Cernic on this right-hand side. He makes the move too early and is the wrong side of the Arsenal rear guard.
Maitland-Niles does have to be careful there, though. Just spoke about him playing in a somewhat unfamiliar role at left wing-back, and there he's just caught too far up the pitch. Has got the pace, it must be said, to get back, but he wants to be stopping those opportunities at source, really.
This is Rob Holding, who's playing on the left-hand side of Arsenal's back three. We've seen him play in different positions, usually on the right-hand side of the centre-back trio more often than not. Something a little bit different for Rob.
Yeah, it's an interesting back three, isn't it? Mohamed El Neni, who we might not have seen play in senior games too often in the middle of the back three, but he did, of course, play there on tour in Australia and in China. I think he's played there a bit in training as well, so it is a position he does know.
Cernic looking to burst between centre halves. Rob Holding takes command and will just flick it forward. It looked like handball, and it's Woodwork that's gone to ground. A touch from Mitchell Donald, and it allows Arsenal to regain possession here. It is a super atmosphere. We were told sell out, 52,000 thereabouts, and they make an awful lot of noise. They haven't had that many goals in group stages of European competition recently. Let's see what Wilshere can do here. That's a decent looking ball over. Walcott will come inside. Just an injection of pace here from Arsenal. Debuchy's touch. Nelson always willing to get forward. Walcott once again flicked away, this time by Rodic. Donald, former Dutch junior international, plying his trade in Serbian football, an imposing figure in central midfield. Rodic to take the throw once again. Here Walcott's been in really good form when it comes to European football. 6 goals in his last 8 European appearances. Obviously we're delving back into the archive in the Champions League from last season. He's continued where he left off. Big night for Walcott, big night for Wilshere as well. There are stars looking to re-establish themselves. An awful lot's been talked about Jack Wilshere recently, less so Theo Walcott, but he knows that this is his stage potentially to remind everyone of his talents. Maitland-Niles for Willock. Wilshere just finding that pocket of space away from Donald. Maitland-Niles back towards Wilshere, looking to try and take it on. It ricochets around. It should be cleared away here by Red Star. This is Cernic. Nicked back impressively by Willock, who's done really well. Maitland-Niles. El Neni. Arsenal dominating play, as you would expect. Nelson's touch. Walcott. Red Star, who've managed some 27 Serbian titles, Yugoslav titles as well combined. The last in 2016. They were beaten to the title by city rivals Partizan last year. 3 points the difference between the two. They were beaten in the cup final as well by Partizan. That hurt the Red Star supporters. Unbeaten in 5 European home games so far this campaign, and they've lost only 1 of their last 11 games in European competition. 6 wins in that sequence. They've been involved right from the get-go. Got the better of Floriana. Atish Sparta Prague and then Krasnodar to make the group stages. It's a long haul already. Steady start though from the Gunners inside the opening 7 minutes or so. Debuchy into switch play here, it's just going to bounce out. We talked about Wilshere and Walcott, one or two of the youngsters. Great to see Debuchy back as well.
Absolutely, yeah, first appearance in the first team since November 2016, when he had to come off having started at home to Bournemouth. It's actually his first team appearance in 326 days. He did play 45 minutes for the under-23s on Monday night, and it must be said he was also playing on the right side of Arsenal's back three then too.
Walcott just picks up a little bit of pace off the turf and it bounces away. Thumbs up though from Theo. It's the sort of ball that he thrives on. These supporters have been looking forward to this game ever since the draw. It is like a cup final. We saw the Cologne supporters at Emirates. This will have been just as impressive tonight in terms of the noise that they've generated. It's always difficult, you feel, for sides like Red Star, who are dominant in their domestic division. They have to play in a very different way against Europe's elite, and despite Arsenal dropping into the Europa League, there's no doubt that Arsenal still are amongst the continent's best. But they have to show a little less ambition maybe, they have to be better defensively. They won't have it all their own way, or will they? This is Srnic looking to play the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Plenty of options inside the box as Radonjic looks to turn. And it's that area again that we talked about, Maitland-Niles on that left-hand side.
Yeah, just got to be careful because Srnic is a tricky customer, as he's shown in these early stages.
Kanga loses out, Wilshere races forward, Walcott wants it if he can see him. Giroud just couldn't control it.
That's unfortunate, really good play by Jack Wilshere firstly. Tigerish at the feet of Kanga, nicked the ball. And once he had, Theo Walcott was charging through the right channel, just couldn't quite slip the ball through to him, went for Giroud, and in fact, must be said that Letalik kind of blocked off Walcott's run. Encouraging signs though for the Gunners.
We've not mentioned Damien Letalik just yet. Brother of Anthony, who turned out for Liverpool all those years ago. I say all those years ago, not that far back in the archive, is it? But Letalik, 27, he's kicked around Russian and Ukrainian football, and indeed was briefly at Dortmund. Debuchy. Willock. This is Nelson. Walcott. Boos and whistles from the Red Star supporters looking to try and unsettle Arsenal, but there's some experienced personnel in the Arsenal ranks, El Neni in particular. We're looking forward to the World Cup, of course, next year. Having made it through with Egypt for the first time since 1990. Just enough experience, you feel, in the Arsenal ranks with the likes of Walcott and Giroud. And Debuchy as well, let's not forget. Might not have played that often recently, but he's a player that's been there and done it.
Yeah, and Francis Coquelin too, another guy who has come back into the first team, again was involved with the under-23s on Monday night. Good to see him back in the first team shirt.
Up goes a signal from Jack Wilshere. Right arm raised towards the near post area. Donald will fire away. It's picked up by Radonjic, and Red Star will look to counter. Radonjic just about stays on his feet, looks to spread the play to the right-hand side, and Kanga, who's got plenty of space. Srnic calling for it. Kanga still has it, chips it towards the far post, holding under pressure as well. And eventually it's Nelson who takes no chances as the ball spins towards the corner flag. Yeah,
did really well there, Rob Holding, because he had to win that. Arsenal caught on the counter, caught exposed. Kanga's cross was stood up to the back stick, and Arsenal's number 16 had to make sure that he got to that, and did. Important clearance.
Radonjic gets ready, in swinger this time, right-footed, powerfully done. Srnic can't make it. Here's good defensive work from Nelson. This is Kanga. Whipped in once again, Debuchy with the header away. Drops towards Letalik. Kanga. Vayakia on this right-hand side. In fact, it's Mitchell Donald, I beg your pardon, popping up at right wing, the midfielder. just beginning to settle all of a sudden. Red Star, Arsenal dropping off a little. Donald. Third season now at Red Star, the ball over the top. Bayaka is onside here, can he finish? It's a difficult angle, takes it away from Holding, looks to try and tee up a teammate, but it's Willock that will come and help out. Just one or two warning shots, certainly in the opening dozen minutes, but an open game of football so far. Wilshere and Giroud combine, no way forward at the moment. This is El Neni. Willock. Nelson on that right-hand side. Walcott will take a touch and then feed it back. El Neni. Holding calling for it, space to move into. But Holding, his former club Bolton Wanderers, the last English side to play here, and they won. 1-0 success for the Trotters when they were a half-decent Premier League team and playing in European football, the one season that they did. By and large, though, English sides have usually failed when they've played here. Manchester United, Liverpool in their pomp, Spurs, West Brom and Leicester have all been beaten by Red Star in the Serbian capital. Here's an opportunity for the Gunners to get some players forward, potentially. Giroud sets himself, just a quick glance to the free kick taker as Wilshere, hands on hips, gets ready to deliver. Holding has wandered forward as well. Debuchy is also looking to get half a yard. Just on the edge of the area, just inside the box, the two Frenchmen. And it comes towards Giroud and Debuchy. Holding is there also, and eventually it's Walcott. It's a really good stop. Still the danger not over. Giroud, can he make it his? It's only half away. It's a little bit awkward and scrappy from Red Star, but they managed to clear their lines. It was Bojan that made the stop. Wilshere battles away on that left-hand flank. Stojkovic can't stop him. It's a little hurried, just about effective, as Kanga picks it up under real pressure, and the referee decides to give Red Star a free kick.
Yeah, real chance for Arsenal there, Theo Walcott. Nice inviting free kick from Jack Wilshere. It was eventually worked to Walcott. The goalkeeper going the wrong way, just about got his foot to it. Good chance though for Theo, and he might be a bit disappointed that he didn't put it away.
Saved his best for European football obviously this season as Theo Walcott, but he's all alone here, and when it comes towards him it's on his weaker left side. It's still a good stop.
Just so he didn't quite get out of his feet properly there, Theo. Had he done so, he would have been banking on Arsenal to have taken the lead. As it is, good stop from Bojan, and it remains goalless.
Interesting character, Milan Bojan. He's a Canadian international, played at the Gold Cup in the summer for Canada. He played for Ludogorets against Arsenal in the Champions League, started his career in Uruguay. Let's see what Red Star can do here. Donald can't turn his man. This is Kristicic. Well, Czech would have had that one covered, you would have thought.
Yeah, but it's a good effort, and it all came from Joe Willock not being strong enough in the 50-50. Arsenal did manage to work the ball away from goal, but then the shot from Kristicic, which I think might have taken deflection. No, it went straight wide. Better check though, had his angles covered.
Haven't seen Petr Cech playing this competition for an awfully long time in his Chelsea days, when Chelsea won the final against Benfica back in 2013. Here is El Neni. "16 minutes gone. Red Star Belgrade 0, Arsenal 0. Gunners looking for a third win in the competition. I do sense they'd be on the brink of qualification should they win here. If they won the return and got 12 points, that might almost be job done. Here's a breakaway though, and Bayaka coming forward on the right-hand side. Still Bayaka looking to pull it back here. This is Kanga to chip it inside the box, but the radar was a little off. Donald to pick it up. Giroud's been floored. Free kick, Gunners. Maybe not. What's the referee giving here? Giroud coming back inside his own half, but you can be called offside if you were initially standing in the opposition half, and Giroud falling foul of the law. Donald to turn. Krstičić wants it. Černić made the move, applauds the idea. Once again, the angle just not good enough. This is Wilshere. Maitland-Niles holding. Noise just hasn't stopped from the supporters. They've been excellent. Their team has done okay so far. Won the last two domestic games 4-0 and 5-0. One in League, one in Cup. And 6 of their last 7. Their only defeat coming to Napredak, who have a happy knack of getting the better of Red Star Belgrade over the last couple of years. They've proved something of a bogey team. Usually playing on the front foot. They've created Arsenal, given Arsenal 1 or 2 dangerous moments to deal with. Nelson to come forward. Walcott just hangs back for a second. Giroud, edge of the penalty area. Coquelin. Nelson again. Giroud won't get to that. Cleared away by Le Tallec. Willock for Wilshere. Does the ball come across his body in that familiar way, and then was he caught as he went down?
Yeah, Krstičić just a bit too strong there on Jack, left him on the floor, and the referee have no alternative really but to give Arsenal a free kick. Interesting to note really that Red Star are quite content to sit deep and then get the ball from Arsenal in the final third and break quickly, and that's what they've done on a number of occasions. Krstičić just trying to do the same there as well. To tread on Jack's right foot. It looked a painful one for our number 10.
Arsene Wenger looks on. He's been waxing lyrical about Jack Wilshere recently. I know that supporters really wanted him to come on in the game against Watford at the weekend. I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding why he didn't. Koscielny was injured at the time. Wilshere okay to continue here, but the free kick is easily cleared, and it's Red Star Belgrade that will come forward. Černić down the right-hand side. Byakia gets a little lucky here. Černić wants it back. Here he is, but the shot is powder puff, and it's just going to curl away.
Yeah, but that's where Arsenal need to be careful. Red Star have already shown on a number of occasions that they're dangerous on the break. That time Byakia did get a lucky bounce to get away from Maitland-Niles, and in the end the eventual shot just trickled wide. But real danger from the hosts, and Arsenal need to make sure that they combat that well.
Former under-21 international for Serbia, had 3 years at Kukarički before moving on to Red Star. Just coming towards the midway point of this first half. Arsenal, of course, beaten at the weekend after 4 straight wins. They were enjoying an unbeaten run of 7. 3 defeats in 12 games in all competitions so far this campaign. They have scored in their last 5 and 7 of their last 8. Usually good for a goal or 2. Failed to score just once in the last 25 European matches. That was the defeat to Barcelona back in February of 2016. Good numbers from Arsenal. Just 1 win in their last 5 away from home, and they have struggled on their travels in the Premier League. We mentioned the Watford defeat. Stoke and Liverpool, of course, coming away with maximum points as well when they hosted the Gunners this campaign. And 9 losses in the last 16 on their travels. If you delve further back into the archive, it's something that concerns Arsene Wenger, obviously. It is Coquelin. Well, it finds Nelson. What experience it is for these young players. They will not have experienced anything like this in terms of atmosphere.
Yeah, they started well though, especially Joe Willock. Completed 19 of his 21 passes so far and just looks really calm when he gets on the ball. That's what you want to see from him. It was excellent against Bate Borisov last time out. Plenty of praise for him and Reiss Nelson. In fact, Martin Keown described some of Nelson's touches as Neymar-esque. He's a real talent, as is Joe. Two players that we know Arsene Wenger is very excited about.
Well, they've been up this season. The Europa League has given the young players a real opportunity. It's definitely a step up from the League Cup, we know that. There is a lot at stake when it comes to the Europa League. It's interesting to hear from one or two supporters suggesting, look, you know, finals in Lyon, and Arsenal do what Manchester United did last campaign and get in the Champions League that way, and indeed win a trophy in Europe. I think everyone would take that. Here is Willett, who does look very assured in that central area. You mentioned his success rate in terms of passing, and giving the ball away at one time. Here is Nelson. Now it's with Willett once again. Coquelin calling for it. The boos and whistles get a little louder as Red Star struggle to get anything on the ball. Here is El Neni. Willett once again. There's no real willingness either for Red Star to engage Arsenal in that middle third. There's no real press from the home side. They're waiting for Arsenal to come on to them and then hope to try and break.
Yeah, they know that Arsenal's fullbacks, wing-backs should I say, sorry, are going to go high up the pitch, and that's where they want to hurt the Gunners on the break.
Giroud will take it down. Walcott inside the penalty area. Wilshere makes a move. Crossfield ball doesn't quite come off. Cleared away initially by Savic. Towards Byakia. This is Kanga. Cernic is on the move again. There's options left and right, and that's a decent-looking ball to the left-hand side. Let's see what Red Star can do here, but unfortunately for the hosts, Radonjic unable to take it on.
Yeah, Nelson did really well. It's a good recovery. Sliding challenge, one that he had to make, and had that pass had a little bit more on it, Radonjic would have been in down the left flank. Reece Nelson did really well to just make sure he got enough on it and then win the throw as well. But again, it's another example of where the hosts can hurt Arsenal down the flanks, and for the likes of Nelson and Maitland-Niles, this is a big test for them defensively. They need to make sure that they stand up to it.
Obviously something that Reece has worked on, because when we've seen him come through the youth side, he's very much an attacking player, but no defensive deficiencies there, that's for certain. A brilliant challenge. Meanwhile, the pressure continues, bit of momentum build up here by Red Star, and they do have a corner on that far side. Radonjic gets ready to take, in-swinger once again. Fair delivery, punched away by Petacek. Kanga looking to recycle. Byakia, 5 in red and white stripes. Decent looking ball in. It was Donald that managed to curl it towards Byakia. And Byakia wants the crowd to get a little bit more involved. Not that they weren't. Donald with the curling cross, teasing to the 6-yard area. Another corner, this time near side. Krstačić gets ready to take, left-footed, plenty of movement inside the penalty area, and the header down, hits the crossbar, cleared away. Big opportunity for Red Star, and it's Byakia, their danger man, that just fails to open the scoring.
Yeah, and what a let-off that is for Arsenal. Byakia completely unmarked, 6 or so yards out. Headed it down against the bar, check beating all ends up. Arsenal got away with one there.
Fourth corner, and it comes again, near post area this time. Giroud away, doing a good job at that near post, the Arsenal striker. This is Kanga to chip it forward. The offside flag is up here. Le Tallec just making his move a split second too soon.
Yeah, but a real let-off there. Richmond Byakia really should have given the host the lead. He's been in good form for his club this season, but they're 6 or 7 yards out. You really would have expected him to score. Arsenal need to make sure that they mark him tightly at set pieces. That's a real let-off for the Gunners.
Ball must have just ricocheted up off Nelson. That's going to be a throw into Red Star. Complete record, incidentally, against English sides. Played 16, won 6, drawn 5, lost 5. The wins have come at home more often than not. Arsenal have played Serbian opposition recently. They put in the same group as Partizan in the Champions League a few years ago, winning both games 3-1. Only other time that Arsenal have played Serbian opposition, as we mentioned earlier, back in the 78-79 UEFA Cup. And Red Star was successful on aggregate after that 1-1 draw at Highbury. They won the first game in Belgrade. Giroud does really well. I think one or two of the Red Star players expected the referee to intervene, but handball wasn't given. But Arsenal don't make the most of it. Have we got a player down here at the moment?
Yeah, and it all came from Coquelin's crunching challenge there on halfway to set that move up. Did go in hard on Stojkovic, who stayed down, does look in a bit of discomfort. Seeing it again. Coquelin won the ball really well, did take the man afterwards. But a good, strong, fair challenge from the Frenchman.
French official intervenes. Filip Stojkovic, who was recently plying his trade for his national side Macedonia, who fell shy of World Cup qualification. Former TSV München player who was signed in the summer. Boss looks on from the sidelines, offering gentle encouragement to maybe one or two of the young players who have performed well. As we approach the half hour, no goals.
No goals, pretty even. In fact, you'd say Red Star probably shaded it up until this point. Been impressed by Joe Willock, I must say. Looks very good when he's got the ball at his feet.
Red Star look to press. They get one or two players forward. Beakia in a little bit of space, but if that is a shot, it's truly woeful. Raises an arm there, and I think he wants to suggest that it took a deflection off an Arsenal player. It was so bad. How about this for the support that Red Star have got? Really has been something else. And do you know what? It did come off an Arsenal player after all that. I didn't think it did. I think he's conned the ref there. Red Star have a throw. Coquelin can't make it his. Holding gets to the pitch of the ball well. Donald will just knock it down. This is Kanga. And eventually towards Stojkovic on this right-hand side. Donald. Nowhere to go. Back for Lutalek. Red Star Belgrade probe away. They're used to scoring. Scored in all bar 2 of their games so far this campaign, and 2 or more in 17 of the 23 matches that they've played. Their season started a little earlier than ours, and obviously they've had to make it through from the first qualifying round in Europe. They're also involved in the Serbian Cup as well, so the fixtures have racked up early on. And they've gone the closest so far.
Really good play again there from Willock, just taking 2 or 3 players out of the game, almost setting Maitland-Niles free down that left flank.
Arsenal missing a whole host of first-teamers, but it's something that we will see in this Europa League over the course of the campaign, however long our Arsenal are in it, and we hope that they do go deep in the competition. Let's start with a clean bill of health, incidentally, as Cernic looks to come forward. Can he pick out a teammate? Decent looking ball in. That's poor defensive work, but a terrific stop, and the second attempt is somehow cleared away by the Gunners. It was Radonjic that got the shot away. Wilshere's touch. Have to see that again. How close were Red Star from going in front again on this occasion? Holding will knock the ball out.
Yeah, Reece Nelson caught there in that right wing-back area.
Bill Walcott, the man down at the moment. Is he complaining he got caught somewhere along the line? Wilshere is certainly adding his voice to the discussion. Benoit Bastien is allowing Theo to get some treatment. Maybe a card is going to come out here, and it's gone to the left-back, Milan Rodic. This is the incident. Clumsy.
Yeah, cynical. He knew what he was doing. Theo was away on the break, and Arsenal were countering quickly. Seeing that opportunity again. It's Reiss Nelson there. No idea where Radonjic was. Then he was caught out by the ball going behind him, and Cech stood up well, made an excellent stop. Once again, that main threat is coming when Red Star's wingers get in behind Arsenal's wing backs.
I'm sure it's something that Red Star would have watched prior to this, and the fact that there are one or two young Arsenal players in those key positions, and I'm sure they will have done their homework to know that they're not necessarily defensive players, or haven't been defenders in their career, because Maitland-Niles as well, we've seen him really play as a holding midfielder or as a midfielder in his junior career. Obviously he's played left wing back and indeed centre half for Arsenal on the odd occasion, but it's not necessarily a natural position for them. Not yet, anyway.
No, we spoke to Reiss Nelson actually last week, and he was talking about the importance of getting to know that defensive side of his game. He was telling us about the work that he's been putting in there, and I know that Joe Willock has also done the same out on the training pitches, and speaking to the more senior pros. They've both spoken very highly of Per Mertesacker as somebody who speaks to them a lot off the pitch, tries to help them learn that defensive side of the game and make sure that when it does come to these big occasions, they're ready to go.
Gunners have managed just one clean sheet in their last 6 games away from home, and we'll be hoping to add to that tally here, but the Gunners unfortunately have been a little vulnerable on their travels, as we've seen. Red Star just growing in confidence. That's a misplaced pass though from Donald, and Theo Walcott is on the move. It's a little hurried ball forward, and Giroud nowhere near it. Neither was Coquelin. Just over 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Keenly contested in the Serbian capital. Red Star Belgrade have struck the post, and they've had one very good effort saved by Petr Cech as Radonjic let fly from close in after some slack defensive play from Reiss Nelson. Some inexperienced defensive play, more accurately I think we'd call it. But Theo Walcott's gone close on a number of occasions for the Gunners, and he's looking to break forwards here. Really good close control from Theo. The pass once again just a little off.
Yeah, and that will disappoint Arsene Wenger, because in the final third his team have been nowhere near precise enough, and it's allowed Red Star to regroup.
Maitland-Niles just enough to send it spinning back for Holding, who showed really good awareness there to knock it back to the left wing back. Now it's with Coquelin. This is Debuchy. Nelson. Walcott looking to make a move, but Nelson's quick enough. Coquelin. And as probe away, where is the opening here for Arsenal? Ridden their luck a little maybe at the other end. Can they find the opening goal? Holding. Red Star showing plenty of discipline. They're not getting carried away with any chances that they create. They're back in their defensive formation as soon as Arsenal get the ball. Coquelin gives it away. Donald picks up the loose ball. Red Star can come forward once again. Kanga will take a touch. Cernic is on the move. Here is Stojkovic. Letalek. And again. Arsenal's turn to get in formation. Oh, that's poor. Sloppy from Rodic over on the left-hand side, and the bounce from the Belgrade supporters isn't as prominent as it was previously. Not that they've quietened down at all, though.
No, it's a really sensational atmosphere, it must be said. Warm evening in Belgrade. About 20 degrees or so even now. Been a nice day in Serbia, and their fans certainly making themselves heard.
Maitland-Niles tries his best to keep it in play, but the crossfield ball wasn't the most accurate, and he had plenty of pace on it. Rodic will take the throw. Bayakia on his chest. Kanga joins in, arms go up, whistle doesn't follow, Holding gets forward, Giroud calling for it. There's plenty of options here for Arsenal. This is Wilshere. Coquelin strong against Kanga in that central area. Debuchy from distance tries his luck, it ricochets out safely into the arms of Milan Borjan. A long time since Mathieu Debuchy scored. He netted against Liverpool, you might recall, in a 2-2 draw up at Anfield in December 2014. And I'd wager, although I don't know the facts, that he's never scored a goal from 25 yards outside the penalty area. If I've got that wrong, Mathieu, I apologise. Maitland-Niles. Wilshere's flick looks to go himself. Stojkovic goes to ground, just a little shove from Wilshere. Free kick to Red Star Belgrade. Once again, Giroud is looking to chase this one down. It's Borjan who will clear. Talked about his CV, starting his professional career in Uruguay with Nacional. Played in Argentina, was on River Plate's books but never played. Played for Quilmes before moving on, played in Turkish football, in Bulgarian football, Polish football. He's a Canadian international. And he's still the right side of 30, much travelled. One really good save so far. Kanga looking for Stojkovic on the right-hand side, but it bounces through for Petr Cech. Well, honours even as we approach half-time. It's probably about right, Nick, but Red Star will be fairly pleased and maybe the happier of the two teams.
Yeah, I think they've edged it, most certainly. Buaki had that excellent chance, and then Cech did really well to keep Radonjic out from Arsenal. That Theo Walcott opening aside, we haven't really seen too much, and that's a worry. Nowhere near good enough in the final third so far. Ball retention just hasn't been there.
Nelson sprints forward, shows good composure, balance and skill and speed. This is Wilshere. Maitland-Niles, oh, he just can't work it towards Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Red Star will clear. Coquelin picks up, looks to recycle. Here he is again, the Frenchman. And then Maitland-Niles hasn't got that burst of pace, but he has got a bit of muscle. And he manages to win possession back here. Now it's with Coquelin, better from the Gunners. It's Willock who can't find a teammate though. Red Star will look to break. Arsenal have got plenty behind the ball here. Senic, who will go again. Bayakia calling for it, but Petr Cech will race outside of his 6-yard box. Didn't quite have the bend on the cross.
No, but once again, just showing how dangerous they are when they turn possession over the hosts. And a better pass there, and Bayakia would have been in. Thankfully for the Gunners, Cech was alert, unable to dive on the ball.
They've had to play second fiddle to Partizan Belgrade more often than not in the title race over the last decade. Just 2 wins, 27 all told in their history, but Partizan have been the main title winners. They've only slipped outside of the top 2 though on one occasion in the last decade. They've managed to pick up the odd cup as well. Their last Serbian Cup back in 2012. They were beaten in the final last year, as we mentioned, a solitary goal separating the two sides. Dominant domestically, they've struggled on the European stage. To the group stages this time around for only the 2nd time in the last 10 years. It's a little sloppy from Stojkovic.
Really good play by Maitland-Niles again. He has looked a threat when he's got over the halfway line. I'm there, just dinked the ball over Stojkovic, who committed himself far too early. Caught Maitland-Niles and probably a bit fortunate to escape without a booking there, the fullback. Gives Arsenal a good position here. Jack Wilshere or Theo Walcott it's going to be to swing it over from the left. What a time to score, 3 minutes to go until half-time. Walcott
has got 4 in Arsenal colours inside the penalty area, a couple lurking just outside the box. There's the movement, up goes the arms from Giroud, looking to get half a yard on his marker. It's towards that back post, and I'm not quite sure if the keeper Bourgeon got anything on that. The referee deciding he did. Difficult to know if he gets it to it.
Well, the linesman gave it. I think the referee was going to give a goal kick, but saw the flag point towards that corner flag and change his mind, and it gives Arsenal a good opportunity just before the break.
The nod from Wilshere, then it comes flicked away. Coquelin try and do something with possession. This is El Neni, kills it back inside the box, but this time the header is well wide.
Yeah, nice inviting ball from Mohamed El Neni. Haven't seen too much of him. Was playing as part of that back three this evening, but he curled that one in towards the head of Olivier Giroud, just couldn't quite get the contact he wanted. Went harmlessly wide of Bourgeon's goal.
Giroud, who netted against Cologne and against Bate Borisov, of course, just the 1 goal in the Premier League so far this campaign, but he hasn't started a top division match this season. Looks like Lacazette has come in, of course. Lacazette had such a great record in this competition last season with Lyon. One suspects if Arsenal do go a little deep into the Europa League, we might see Lacazette back in this competition for the Gunners.
I think at this stage, though, it is good for Arsene Wenger to be able to utilise that squad depth he has. Only made 3 changes to the team that won against Bate last time out.
Stronger than a League Cup side, not as strong as a Premier League suggests, but more than enough to get out the group stages. Arsenal have been given a real good opportunity, I think, to win this competition. AC Milan are the other side that you would suggest have got the pedigree. They've got their own troubles at the moment, beaten in the derby at the weekend, and the 2 noises made about where their money has come from and how they're going to pay it back over the last few weeks in Italy. Obviously, you've got teams that drop down from the Champions League, but as we've seen over the last 20 years, Arsenal usually good enough to beat them. Real opportunity to go all the way, and then potentially come the spring you start to reintroduce some of your stars.
Yeah, I think the first aim should just be to try and win this group as early as possible, and you know, if you can do it after this double header, that then gives you the freedom to utilise your squad depth for the last 2 fixtures. Gets busy, of course, around the end of November, the start of December, if Arsene Wenger has the opportunity to give some more experience to some of the young players that we've seen today, and some of the young guys that we've got on the bench as well. It'll help the squad in general. It'll keep those Premier League starters fit as well.
We're into 2 minutes of added on time. We've had 30-odd seconds of it. Shake of the head from Olivier Giroud. He's not been given that much opportunity so far. Well shackled by the likes of Savic and Le Tallec and the rest of the Red Star defenders. Bourgeon making that 1 good stop from Theo Walcott, as you mentioned earlier, Nick, and by and large Red Star have been relatively comfortable, but you do sense there are goals in this game. Both sides usually good for a goal or 2, as we've mentioned with the numbers over the course of this season, and indeed European football full stop when it comes to Arsenal. It's a pretty woeful effort from Kanga. Four goals this campaign for the Gabon international. Vladan Milojevic looking on, the 47-year-old who is a former player, coming back to coach Red Star after spells in Greek football and in Cypriot football as well. Did well with Bukaricki, winning the Serbian Cup with an unfashionable side back in 4 years ago now. but the pressure is very much up when you take charge of Red Star. That's the 2 minutes of added on time up. Arsenal have had to survive 1 or 2 scares. An opportunity that wasn't taken from Richmond Boyackia when it rattled the crossbar after a downward header, the closest that these supporters have come to seeing their side take the lead. Theo Walcott's had an opportunity as well. The referee hasn't been busy. The Red Star will fancy their chances of getting something from this, you fancy. But at half-time in Belgrade, it is Red Star Belgrade 0, Arsenal 0.
Goalless then in Belgrade at half-time. Not vintage stuff from Arsenal, but they've got parity at the interval. And maybe, Graham, they're slightly fortunate to be on level terms?
I'd say so. 2 good chances, I think, for Red Star to take a goal. Good save by Cech. And also hitting the bar from a set piece, which I'd be disappointed with.
Yeah, Arsenal started the brighter of the 2 sides, no doubt about that. They exerted a bit of early control. We saw Jack Wilshere get onto the ball, make a few things happen, and Theo Walcott had what turned out to be Arsenal's only real shot of that first period. Should he do better, Graham? Should he score?
I think he should do better. He puts a bit of height on it and lifts it over the keeper's legs. The keeper's already, he's moving across the goal. He'd be disappointed with that. He'd really be disappointed with that.
Yeah, it's on his left foot, isn't it, Theo Walcott? But I guess he's been around long enough to know the types of finish. It's interesting that you're looking at it from the goalkeeping perspective. Yeah. So we're in that situation where the ball's coming across the face of goal, the goalkeeper's on the move. Yeah. What does a goalkeeper not want?
Well, for it to go back in, exactly the corner where Theo's tried to put the ball, but if he'd have put it with slightly more height, because along the floor the keeper's feet are always in play. So for me, if you can lift the ball, obviously the goalkeeper's momentum and his balance is predominantly, in that case, on his left-hand side. Yes. So Theo's obviously played it to go back across him, which was the right thing to do, but obviously too low and...
Yeah, it was a little bit, obviously it was from close range, but it was a little bit like that Ozil chance where he has space either side of the keeper, but ends up going at the keeper, which obviously is the mistake. After that, Arsenal laboured a little bit, didn't they, if truth be told. The possession, plenty of it. Over 60% the last time I looked, 63% around that region. But they're not really using it that wisely or efficiently, especially inside the final third. Yeah,
but in too many giveaways, I think simple passes in the final third, just a lack of quality. I think on the back of that, losing in them sort of areas has put them in the ascendancy and put them on a counter-attack, which they do look threatening.
They certainly do. We'll get to that in a moment. What would you say the loose passing is down to? Is it poor technique, or potentially could we look at players like Walcott, players like Olivier Giroud, and say, look, are they moving around enough? Are they showing for the ball with enough regularity? What's your take on that?
I'd say it's probably you're spot on in both really. I think obviously it's a team that haven't played together. You know, it's new players. That may take a bit of time. People may be rusty in terms of game time and the amount of minutes they've played. In terms of Wilshere, Giroud, Coquelin, you know, so that may be playing a part.
Some of your experiences for the Arsenal first team were in the League Cup, weren't they? Where you had a sort of what was called a mix and match side. Yeah. It isn't easy when you just thrust 11 players together that probably haven't played together before, or maybe just once or twice. You go into lack a bit of cohesion, aren't you?
Yeah, of course you are. I mean, that's understandable. The fact they play together, you know, every day in training is neither here or there. Right. You know, you're playing in a competitive game, a completely different environment. You know, with a team that you haven't played with week in, week out. And I think that does tell. It certainly has done for me this evening.
Yeah, I mentioned Jack Wilshere started the game quite brightly on the left-hand side of the attacking midfield too. I think we've got his touch map to show you from that first period. What's your reaction there? I mean, there's 2 things that spring to mind immediately there. He's wide, a lot.
Yeah.
Which isn't really where you want Jack Wilshere.
No.
And he hasn't had any real touches inside that danger zone.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, lack of touches inside the box, which, in fairness, probably, with Giroud playing more of a central key figure, you would expect Giroud to maybe make most of his touches in there. But certainly, you look there, he's made a lot of touches out wide and also inside the Arsenal half, which obviously tells its own story that he has had to come back and defend at times.
Do we want, and I know what the answer to this question is, do we want Jack Wilshere more central, linking up with Olivier Giroud with greater regularity?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think you've got a player there who's capable of creating chances on, in a moment, and we need to get him on the ball because he will be the one I believe is going to unlock that defence.
Yeah, I would suggest that most of those touches for Jack Wilshere that we saw on that heat map there were in the first 20-25 minutes. It's been a bit quiet last 15 or so. The two best chances, we talked about the Theo Walcott opportunity, which was a good chance, but the two best chances of the game really did come from Red Star Belgrade. The first one hit the woodwork from a straightforward corner. Talk us through that one. Is there anything we could have done better?
Having looked at it, we're part zonal, part man for man. It's Holding who's marking. Just a moment of concentration, lapse in concentration that's allowed his marker to get free, and we're fortunate that it's come off the bar and not gone in.
Yeah, it was a header that bounced off the turf onto the crossbar.
That's right, yeah.
That was a let-off, and there was an even bigger one shortly afterwards. When not for the first time, we saw Red Star Belgrade break on Arsenal down the sides, in particular down Arsenal's left-hand side, their right.
Yeah, I think as we sort of touched on earlier, as much as Arsenal have had possession in their third, we have looked vulnerable when out of possession, when we have lost the ball, and when our wing-backs are high and wide. That is leaving a lot of space down the side of Holding, and again on the other side, but predominantly down the side of Holding, and they have got pace as well. And as they've shown, when they have been able to get in them wide areas, they have caused us problems.
Yeah, they've only had 30-odd% possession, Red Star Belgrade. They created 6 shots to Arsenal's 1. The 2 that we're talking about were clearly the most dangerous. The first from the corner, this one from a breakaway. What about Reiss Nelson's role at right wing back? Because he was doing his best to get back into. Yeah. In the end, did he overcompensate?
I think he's just got his, rather than getting in, he's got in slightly too late. I think he's chasing his position, he's facing his own goal, which is obviously isn't ideal. If he could have got in slightly earlier and opened his body up and sort of checked to see where his marker was, but I think in the end he's missed it. He's missed it completely by the looks of it, and then the lads had a shot saved by Cech.
Yeah, Radonjic it was that had the shot. Good point blank range save from Petr Cech, but to Reiss Nelson's credit, he picked himself up and made a goal-saving block, didn't he? So hats off to him for that. Right, more analysis later. Last weekend we saw part 1 of a lovely feature we put together with Arsenal legend Gilberto Silva. On Saturday, he was reminiscing about the old days, and tonight we're continuing the theme.
Last week we heard from Invincible star Gilberto about his rise from poverty in Brazil to joining Arsenal. This week we pick up his story at the end of the 2003-2004 season, when he was instrumental in our history-making unbeaten campaign.
I think, we have many special moments from that period, and it was so nice for me when we get into the hybrid tunnel, cold tunnel, very narrow, close to the opponents. It's like almost shoulder to shoulder, and we knew that we were going to win the game on that tunnel. And then another special moment, I can say, that was when we won the league at Hart Lane. This was something very special because we had 4 games to go, but to win the title there, it means a lot for all the players, for the fans, for the club, because they also had a very good game. Maybe the game could be much easier for us, and at some point we complicated ourselves, but in the end we got the prize, to win there.
Gilberto continued to be an understated figure in the years to follow, lifting another FA Cup and playing in the Champions League final. But as the guy doing the dirty work, his contribution was often overlooked. but scoring our first goal at Emirates Stadium is something that will forever be remembered.
I scored a few goals, but the first game official Arsenal game at Emirates, and I scored the equalizing game against Aston Villa. We were a bit. We were in trouble that game, you know, because they scored first. The game was very hard. All of us were not accepting that result. And we tried to get into them. I got that ball, you know, the cross from Woodwork, and then I scored the equalizing goal. It's something, you know, very, very unique in my career at Arsenal, and I'm happy for that and very proud. All the time when I achieve those kind of things, I always look back from where I come from. You know, from my village, from my parents, the way I started to play football on those days, you know, it's bringing me back home somehow in my mind. And then, you know, I enjoy a lot this kind of moments because they are very unique.
In the years following our move to the Emirates, more responsibility fell Gilberto's way, and his composure was put to the test in a fiery North London derby.
So, on that time, you know, I was the vice captain, and Thierry was the captain, the penalty taker. But he spent most of the season injury, and I took the responsibility as a captain. So always when you play against your biggest rival, you know, everything you do positive on the field counts. And to score 2 goals on penalty on that day was amazing. Again, you know, I was there, score against your biggest rival in a very special game for the club and for the fans.
In 2008, Gilberto called time on his Arsenal career, moving to Panathinaikos in Greece. 3 years on, he returned to Brazil to play for Grêmio, before receiving a hero's welcome at former club Atlético Mineiro, where he was part of the side that won the 2013 Copa Libertadores. He officially hung up his boots in 2015, and in retirement can now look back with dignity on a quite exemplary career.
I'm very proud, because it's not very common. Somebody come from the village I came from, very tiny, very small, and reach the point I've reached in my career, in my life, and I took every opportunity. You know, it's something that makes me feel happy for all the scenario.
He's a proper legend, isn't he, Gilberto Silva? And the man to my left got to play and train alongside him, didn't you? And you say he was a lovely fella.
Yeah, real diamond of a guy. Excellent professional, the way he applied himself in training, very well liked amongst the team. Yeah, always smiling, always happy, and was an outstanding player for us.
And you were, of course, part of that invincible season, right?
Yeah, I was, yeah. Looking back, seeing some of the images there, it's lovely.
Yeah,
brings
snuck into some of the celebrations?
Yeah, I snuck into a few.
Love it. Let's hope there are a few celebrations at the final whistle tonight. It's been fairly average fare, hasn't it, so far from the Gunners? We've got a few tweets for you that have come in, though, at half-time. Here's what you have to say. Mickey Brolly says, I think we need to be a bit more decisive in the second half. Yeah, wouldn't disagree with that, would you, Graham?
No, spot on.
Yeah. The next tweet say, link missing for Arsenal between the back line and the forwards. I think you're absolutely correct there, because it's broken down too often, hasn't it, inside the middle and final third. Online _Arsenal half-time, 0-0. Both teams with chances. Need to step it up price-wise to get the pace-wise to get the breakthrough. And Pirate 159 says, need to step it up a bit in the second half. Serious lack of precision, penetration from midfield, too much lateral passing. Now, we were actually talking about that here in the studio, weren't we, Pirate? So, good assessment, I would say. A little bit too much sideways passing. Not enough quality football between the lines. Not enough link-up play with the centre forward.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, we need to see more of that second half.
I guess Arsene Wenger, he's got to work with the players he's got, because there's a lot of inexperience on the bench. He's not really got the options to change things up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important that these lads get minutes as well. I mean, it's important somebody's get 90 minutes. The likes of Walcott, the likes of Wilshere and Giroud, and some of the younger lads. So I can't see him making any changes just yet.
No. So based on what we've seen so far, you said 2-1 prediction ahead of the game. I said 3-2. I mean, that's looking a mile off, isn't it, at the moment? Based on what you've seen so far, any kind of win will do, won't it, for Arsenal?
Yeah, most definitely. You just get over the line at 1-0, you take a 1-0 set play, whatever you like. But I think they will come on strong as well. I think they will certainly have the ascendancy.
Yeah, are Red Star Belgrade a little bit more dangerous than we thought?
I think so. Yeah, certainly on the counter.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky second half for the Gunners, no doubt about it. We need those guys up top. Theo Walcott, Jack Wilshere, Olivier Giroud to step up to the plate, don't we, in the second period. What about in that midfield unit? We've seen the central midfield in the first team in the Premier League, Xhaka and Ramsey, come in for a little bit of stick in recent games. How do you think Coquelin and Willock are doing?
They've done okay. They've worked extremely hard, made some good tackles, broke up play, but in possession, that's one thing where we have struggled.
Absolutely, and we also need to make ourselves a little bit less vulnerable down the sides. Does that mean pulling the wing backs in a little bit?
Yeah, possibly. That would be one way to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely right. We'll have to see if Arsene Wenger sees it the same way in the second half. Let's head straight back to Belgrade and rejoin our commentary team of Dan Roebuck and Nick Bromsack.
Well, I think they need to retain possession better, first of all, Dan. All too many times in that first period we saw promising moves extinguished really by a poor final pass, or a poor pass once Arsenal got into the final third. First thing they're going to have to do now, though, is defend, because the hosts are coming forward. Yeah, Oneni did really well there. Had to make sure that he won that, because if not, Cernic was either going clean through or was being brought down for a penalty. He did well, made sure that he got to the ball first, and Czech was able to pounce on the loose ball. Good start though from the hosts, who I think probably shaded the first half. Yeah, really good opportunity for Arsenal there. Joe Woodwork doing very well. Crowded out, made the right choice to lay the ball back off to Theo Walcott. Must be said, his cross-come shot did have a lot of pace on it, but Giroud, as you mentioned, Dan, will have been disappointed not to have got a better connection on that. Encouraging signs though from Arsenal. Yeah, that's the best of Reece Nelson, seeing it twice in quick succession. First, getting to the byline and pulling the ball back, and then that second occasion, doing well to rob Radonjic and forcing a good save from Borjan at his near post. Maybe should have gone across the goalkeeper, but a fair hit nonetheless. Yeah, Olivier Giroud just being pulled up for a foul there. But it's been a purposeful start to the second period by Arsenal. First, the Frenchman not quite able to sort his feet out when in front of goal. And then Reece Nelson having done really well to win the ball back, sending off a fierce right-footed shot. I don't think it would have gone in, but Borjan wasn't to know that, did well.
Throw it over on that far side, and Red Star look to make progress. This is Donald. Knocked back towards Le Talek. Ganga helps out. Here is Kanga once again. Forward by Stojkovic. Savic helps out. To the near side once again, this is Rodic. A bit of space maybe to work at here for the left full-back, and still going forward. Radonjic loses out initially and then looks to try and win it back. Kanga can't play it forward, cleared away only as far as Kristicic. Boyakie, and then curled in towards Kristicic, into the arms of Petr Cech. Got his positioning spot on, did Arsenal's keeper.
Yeah, it's a really good cross from deep, and Kristicic, that diagonal run just gets across Debuchy. In the end, it's straight at Cech. Anywhere else, and Arsenal's goalkeeper might have had problems.
Interesting player, Nenad Kristicic. He was a regular at Sampdoria a few years ago. Fell out of favour there, went on loan to Bologna, then he was playing in Spanish football in the top tier with Alaves last campaign. Came back to Serbian football for the first time since 2008 when he signed for Red Star. It's easy for Cech on this occasion. Wilshere away from one challenge from Kristicic. This is Olivier Giroud on that left foot looking for the curler, but just caught it a little bit too well maybe.
Yeah, the game really opening up now. Petr Cech there, setting up the attack, rolled it out quickly, and that's what we want to see from Jack Wilshere. That burst from midfield, laid it off to Giroud. It's not a bad effort. Maybe he could have looked for Wilshere again, though he had continued his run. Seen those two players link up so well, of course, over the years. 4 years ago on this day, of course, for that goal Jack Wilshere scored against Norwich. On that occasion, Giroud electing to go for goal, putting it a couple of yards over the bar.
Poor from Elneny, opportunity here, and it's Petr Cech to the rescue once again. This time Srnić, who stole in. Well, how on earth are we still 0-0? Chances at both ends.
Yeah, Elneny just hasn't had enough of a look there. Rob Holding did really well actually to put Srnić under pressure. If he'd looked up, he could have squared it to Radonjic. As it was, Cech got a strong fist to the ball and punched it out for a corner.
In comes the corner from Red Star. Petr Cech claims under no real pressure, but he keeps his composure well.
You're welcome.
Thumped forward by Petr Cech towards Olivier Giroud, who wins the header, but there's no one else in support. He's not going to be able to do it all on his own. However, he does win a free kick here. Stojkovic was doing the pushing, shoving, holding.
Yeah, he does that brilliantly, Giroud. It's something I've seen of him throughout his Arsenal career. Stojkovic didn't jump, Giroud did. And the referee deemed that a free kick. It gives Arsenal a set piece in a promising position. They've sent the big men forward from the back too. Plenty for Jack Wilshere to aim at here. It's about, what, 35 yards from goal.
Now Bojan doing the organising. Wilshere will float it inside the area. It's cleared away by Red Star. Boyakie won't get there, but Srnić will. Red Star come away with possession. How quick can they counter? Well, they can't counter at all with a ball like that.
Really good tempo to this game. Second half has started at quite a pace. Both sides really looking for that opening goal. Jack Wilshere coming more and more to the fore for Arsenal.
Elneny. Wilshere just about gets away with that. A little slow to react initially. Walcott will find Nelson, who drives on. Willock up in support. Nelson, two youngsters trade passes again as Nelson wriggles forward once again. Looks for the quick 1-2. Might fall for Walcott here. 3 inside the area. The referee has halted play. Did the flag go up on this near side? Let's have another look at this. Oh, that's tight, very tight.
Yeah, I think he was just about level as it was. It didn't really matter because Bojan saved well with his feet anyway.
Wilshere, space for Walcott this time, who is onside this time, but he's just worried out of it a little bit.
Yeah, excellent defending by Rodic there. Wilshere, a really nice pass through to Walcott, and Rodic had to be strong and was. Arsenal have got a corner. I think it actually came off Theo Walcott last, so perhaps a touch fortunate. Let's see if they can make the most of it now with Wilshere standing over it.
Taken short, this is Theo Walcott. Chips inside the area, cleared away. Our Arsenal players queuing up inside the box far post. El Neni will try and centre once again. But in fact, we've got a player down and the referee has halted the action again.
Yeah, and that might just curtail some of the momentum that Arsenal have built in this last 5 minutes or so. And visitors probably enjoying their best spell of the game, really. They've looked dangerous since the break, it must be said. Wilshere really involved, Walcott more and more involved. See that again, and a clash of heads. It looked like two Red Star players colliding with each other there.
Natalak is okay to continue. A globe-trotting player, or at least European trotting. Started at Rennes, Borussia Dortmund, Nantes, before playing for Overia in the Ukraine for a couple of years. Moldova in Russia. Found a home at Red Star over the last couple of campaigns, and he slotted in nicely. We're approaching the hour here. Red Star Belgrade 0, Arsenal 0. Walcott can't use his pace on that occasion. Just muscled out of it once again. That's going to be a home throw. It's the sort of time that usually Arsene Wenger doesn't necessarily introduce substitutes, but he'd be starting to think about them. But it is very much an inexperienced bench, sort of bench that you like to throw on one or two from when you're 2 or 3 up, rather than when you're 0-0.
Yeah, all 6 outfield players actually featured for the under-23s on Monday night. Chuba Akpom scored in that game. Really nice finish on his right foot. Eddie Nketiah, who made his debut against Bate Borisov in Arsenal's last Europa League game, as did Marcus McGuane as well. We've seen a bit of Josh Da Silva this season too. Like Nelson and like Willock, he's someone who's been pushed back a bit. We've seen him play left centre-back against Doncaster Rovers in the League Cup.
England under-19 international as well, and all the England junior sides have been doing very well at the moment. England under-17's currently out in India, the World Cup at that level. England through to the quarters after that astonishing penalty shootout success over Japan. It's the United States next up. Of course, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's on the pitch at the moment, was involved for the under-20s in their World Cup success at that level out in Korea in the summer. A lot of talent coming through England ranks, and Arsenal, as ever, playing their part. This is Wilshere. And he battles away, but he's given it away. And then Donald goes down, and suddenly Red Star look a little short centrally. Can Walcott punish the hosts here? Well, the referee will reach for the pocket, and this is going to be a yellow card.
Yeah, strong, purposeful run there by Theo Walcott. Racky it was who was tracking back, the striker trying to stop Walcott, and he did, albeit with an illegal intervention there. Just got his hand across Walcott's shoulder, and though he tried to stay on his feet in the end, he was wrestled to the ground. Shame really, because the England international was bursting forward there and had Giroud in front of him as well.
Was sent off in his Serie A days, playing for Atalanta against Roma a few years ago. He's a fiery character, although he's learnt to keep a lid on it more often than not since moving to Serbian football. Wilshere once again, and it comes cleared away. Too easy for Savic and co. Giroud holds the play up. Wilshere battling away, looked like a fairly high challenge. I don't think there's anything really in it, but you know that if your studs are raised like that, you're going to be pulled up for it.
Yeah, he actually ducked out of it in the end. It wasn't really too close to the head, but You said, Dan, you're always inviting trouble when you go in like that.
Wilshere, it's been plenty of the ball. Holding, unfamiliar place on the left-hand side of Arsenal's back three, but by and large he's done well. Coquelin's touch, Maitland-Niles. Arsenal playing the ball around with a bit of confidence. Plenty of possession. Where is the penetration here from the Gunners? Walcott, who's looked the most likely. He's taken up some good positions, but then Debuchy gives it away. Red Star look to win it back. Debuchy flies in, just about helps win it back now. This is Wilshere, cuts across the defender, still going forwards, and then the sliding challenge here from Le Tallec. He's going to give Arsenal a free kick and a yellow card to the Frenchman. I don't think you can have too many complaints about that.
For some reason he has, but it's a clear foul. Gives Arsenal a good opportunity. Host of players are standing over this one. Reece Nelson's got the ball in his hands. I think maybe it's better suited to a left footer. Giroud and Wilshere both there too.
So does Wilshere or Giroud pull rank, or do they let the youngster try his luck? Looks like it's going to be the latter, why not? Reece Nelson has placed the ball. Will we see something special here from the 17-year-old? Five-man wall, referee reminding of the wall of their responsibilities. Giroud and Holding maybe to move away and create a little bit of space for the youngster. Doesn't quite make it through the wall. Red Star will look to try and counter, but Arsenal have got players back. And in fact, the referee's going to pull play back again. It's Srnic who's down at the moment. I think a card has come out, but to whom?
Yeah, poor free kick really from Reece Nelson. Good position, good area, and just couldn't get it anywhere near clearing the wall there.
I think it's Coquelin maybe that's gone into the book. Srnic is okay, just about.
Yeah, just got to the ball first, prodded it forward to start off a counter-attack, and it was Francis Coquelin.
Good to see Francis back in action as well. He's had his injury issues. Yellow card for his troubles here, but a combative midfielder. Goes with the territory sometimes with Francis. I'm going to see a change for Red Star. The first intervention from the coaching staff from the sidelines, and it looks like it's going to be Miroslav Savic who's going to come off. Second spell at Red Star after spells in France and Germany. Taking his time coming off, but eventually to the sidelines. And it's going to be Babic. He's coming on. Serdan Babic, who's on loan from Real Sociedad at the moment. Didn't really get too much of a go with the first team. He played for the B side a couple of seasons ago and then joined Ruiz of the Segunda last campaign. In and out the team, back in Serbian football, having started his career with Vojvodina. Like for like in terms of position. Thrown down by Rodic initially. El Neni battles and wins it back. Wilshere. Sliding challenge from Stojkovic, and suddenly possession is once again with Red Star Belgrade. Can go with the ball over the top. That's overhit and comfortable for Petr Cech. Debuchy. Boyakia. Nelson. Walcott's on the move, looking to show his pace here. Needs a lucky bounce, doesn't really get one. Does get a corner though.
Yeah, just couldn't quite get away from Rodic there, Walcott. The bounce helped out the defender. Arsenal haven't really made the most of their set plays yet. All too often, Wilshere or Walcott's deliveries found a red shirt. Jack's got another opportunity here, and again they've sent forward the likes of Holding and Debuchy too.
Wilshere with a corner here for Arsenal. And it comes towards Giroud. Cleared away, too many Red Star players back, and Nelson loses out, and suddenly the counter is on. Now then, Red Star have got options here. Arsenal looking to get players back in defensive positions. This is Radonjic, a twist and a turn away from El Neni, but into the midriff of Pericek.
Yeah, disappointing from Radonjic. Did so well there to get away from El Neni, and once he had, cross on his left foot straight at the Arsenal goalkeeper. Cech quick to roll it out and get Arsenal moving again.
Nelson just about recovered. There was a suggestion he might have got a flailing arm in his face. You can see he's still wiping his nose there with his shirt and receiving the ball now, but thankfully okay.
Yeah, he got some rough treatment against Borisov as well. Reiss Nelson. More and more experience for him. He's actually been very impressive. More touches than any Arsenal player so far. More attempted passes too. He's looked good when he's got forward. Defensively, Radonjic has made it difficult for him at times, but
here he goes again. What's been impressive is the fact that he stepped up. He's not shirked responsibility. He looks like he belongs on the pitch.
Absolutely, and he does look a real threat when he gets forward. We saw him twice already in the second half. The first time when he pulled the ball back, having got to the byline, it was the right choice, the right decision. Then went close himself with a shot from a tightish angle as well. You can see why everyone rates him so highly and why Arsene Wenger is so excited about him.
It's gone a little scrappy all of a sudden. First half was played in good spirit. Open game of football, no goals obviously, but plenty of opportunities. Second half, not so much. Easily intercepted by Holding. It's been a tale of misplaced passes from both sides, really. This is Coconut. Willock. Maitland-Niles. Debuchy. Arsenal try right flank after left. Is there a little more joy on the side that Reiss Nelson is involved with? Giroud and Walcott try to inject a little bit of pace and tempo to the attack, but it's worked back towards El Neni. Red Star holding firm, then the diagonal, hoping to try and get Walcott in. Cleared away. Sernic battles. Maitland-Niles goal side. Stojkovic. This is Mitchell-Donald. Radonjic. Kristicic, who had that header. Donald from distance, real daisy cutter that Pericek can just watch go wide by a metre or so.
Yeah, no real danger at all there. Always going wide, that shot from Donald. He cut across the ball.
Return fixture, of course, coming up in early November on the 2nd at the Emirates Stadium, before Arsenal then travel to Cologne on match day 5 and wrap up their schedule against Bate Borisov in early December. As Nick was pointing out earlier, I'm sure Arsene Wenger will be desperate to get qualification over and done with as soon as possible, but only a point here would just be a small setback. Sense that maybe these are the two sides that might go through. That's with all respect to Cologne. When Cologne have been beaten on their own patch by Red Star Belgrade, it tends to lend itself to you thinking that these are the two that are going to qualify. Radonjic. Kanga. And it's back in action in the Premier League, of course, at the weekend. Swansea will be coming to London. And that return game, as we mentioned before, the Manchester City game in the league. Of course, we've got the small matter of the League Cup as well coming up. And Everton, I beg your pardon, this weekend. Then Swansea, of course, in a couple of weeks' time. So it's a busy schedule.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important, isn't it, to make sure that everyone in the squad is getting minutes, is ready to step in and step up if and when it's required in the Premier League.
Everton, of course, themselves involved in Europa League action. They've had it tough off the back of European fixtures this campaign. See what Arsenal can do here, and that's something that we haven't seen too often from Maitland-Niles on the left-hand side, looking to try and take his man on.
Yeah, and he can be so dangerous because he's very quick, very direct as well. And he did well there, charging towards the byline and winning a corner. Arsenal's 6th of the evening, haven't made the most of the first 5. Let's hope they can produce something a bit better with this one from Theo Walcott.
Up goes the signal, plenty of movement inside the area. Giroud came to him at an odd angle. He'd already made the move forward. It was going to be difficult.
Yeah, half chance though still. Someone of Olivier Giroud's quality there. Just couldn't quite get back behind the ball, and as it was stretching out behind him, it was always going to be very difficult to get over that.
We mentioned Everton's struggles after Europa League games. They've lost their next 2 games after group games this year. Arsenal have done much better, of course, and there was an awful lot of talk about how Arsene Wenger was going to rotate his squad and how difficult or different it's going to be to previous Champions League campaigns, but he's done well so far. Kept the right players fresh, he's kept the right players interested in Europa League action. Obviously that big game against Chelsea off the back of a Europa League game was a battling points. Check easy to get to that as Cernic tried to get through. Then of course the win against Brighton off the back of the Barté success. So it'll be interesting, that game at Goodison at the weekend.
Yeah, massive game, isn't it? Especially after that defeat at Vicarage Road last time out. Arsenal's recent record at Goodison Park isn't the best. Just went 1-0 up last season, only to eventually lose 2-1.
Oh, El Neni gets a little bit lucky because that could have bounced anywhere. Bayaka was racing through the centre.
As it was, Cech had a good starting position again and was able to atone for it. Bounce of the ball, thankfully from an Arsenal perspective, didn't go towards Bayaka but towards the Arsenal goalkeeper. He's able to hack it away.
Comfortable for Debuchy, lets it run through towards Petr Cech. It is Red Star 0, Arsenal 0. Goalless affairs fairly rare for the Gunners. Obviously the Stamford Bridge game we mentioned just a few moments ago, but don't get involved in too many scoreless affairs. Holding, El Neni. Donald. Kanga. Good running from Cernic, better running from Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, did really well there, Maitland-Niles, and I think defensively he's had to work hard today. He's made 5 tackles, he's won the ball back for Arsenal on 5 separate occasions with recoveries. He's made interceptions when he's needed to as well, and that time he was alert to make sure that he got to that ball, because if not, Red Star were in down the right.
Donald. Into the final 15 in the Serbian capital. Red Star Belgrade 0, Arsenal 0. El Neni steps up and intercepts as Bayakia look to get through, and Arsenal look to counter once again. And Giroud and Wilshere are calling for it from Walcott. The flick from Giroud towards Wilshere is good. Still Wilshere, there's the out ball for him. Steps away from a couple of challenges. Momentum of the move lost just a second. Maitland-Niles joins in, 3 waiting for the cross. Giroud back to goal, can't quite spin it for Maitland-Niles, but the clearance has gone straight to an Arsenal player, holding Coquelin, Willock. Reece Nelson now on the right-hand side. Arsenal still probe away. Walcott and Giroud still wait. Back towards Willock. This is Debuchy. Holding. This is Giroud. Just won't get to that. Well, this lot haven't stopped from minute 1. I say minute 1, they were here a good couple of hours before kick-off when they were cranking up the volume.
Yeah, they've been absolutely exceptional, incredibly noisy. I must say Arsenal have dealt with the atmosphere better as the game's gone on, and with the host as well. Wondering here, with about, what, 12 minutes to go plus stoppage time, if Arsene Wenger will be looking at making any substitutions. As we said, it is a young bench, but Djibril Akpom has got plenty of first-team experience in the Football League. Eddie Nketiah as well, very highly regarded forward. Scored for fun at youth level. Two forward options and plenty of others in midfield and at the back as well.
Debuchy just slips on the running track there as he looked to recover. Set with injuries, of course, over the last few seasons. Such a terrific performer when he first came to the club, and expected to be Arsenal's right back for an awfully long time, and then beset with injuries. Hector Bellerin emerged, and Debuchy's had to play second fiddle. Of course, he was out on loan French football a couple of seasons ago. It didn't really work out for him there. He's fallen down the pecking order for the national side. Rodic runs into Coquelin, ricochets back up off the Frenchman. Bayakia is the player who is coming off here. Had that one header that struck the crossbar in the first half. He's worked hard. He has been replaced by Alexander Pesic.
Yeah, he started the season well, Pesic. 6 goals in 12 games. In the league, he's Red Star's top scorer in the Super League.
Oh, he's been caught there. And you can see that the cut, I think, just on the right-hand side, just next to the eye. Is there a bit of blood coming through? It's a red card. Well, Rodic, who was yellow carded earlier on in the game, I didn't see a second yellow. Was it a second yellow or a straight red? Well, Rodic is arguing the case here, but with 10 minutes remaining, Red Star Belgrade have been reduced to 10 men. We'll have to try and see the incident again. Here we go. Left elbow into the side of the head. There's a sickening blow, and Francis Coquelin knew straight away. See just underneath the right eye.
Yeah, he was quick to beckon Colin Lewin and Gary O'Driscoll over. Rodic, when they contested that ball, was higher than Coquelin. I'm not too sure there was too much intent, it must be said, from the Red Star defender. He's not happy with the decision as he trudges off. And it gives Arsenal a real fillip here, a real good opportunity in these last, 9 minutes, and whatever's added on at the end to go and take the 3 points, to maintain this 100% record and to take a big step to topping Group H as well.
was the second yellow card for Milan Rodic, so therefore the red, not the straight red for the elbow, but the yellow for the elbow, if you like, or the challenge. But he certainly caught Coquelin. Whether he meant it or not, I don't know, but it was a violent swing, and you could see the mark that it made on Coquelin's face immediately. See the Brule, look at that. I mean, if anyone suggests that he hasn't been caught, you've just got to look at Francis's face.
Absolutely. Contact was there, and the war wound that Coquelin sporting would back that up.
Veljic is coming on. Serbian international player. We're going to see a change with Crnic coming off. He's the player to be sacrificed. It is a midfielder coming on for a striker. As Nick's pointed out, tables have turned here because the numerical advantage in terms of personnel should give Arsenal a little bit of momentum going into the final, 7.5 minutes we've got left now. We've not seen any football for the last 3. Belgrade is on. Boos and whistles. Coquelin knocks the ball out of play.
Yeah, just need to use the ball a lot better now. Arsenal have got a one-man advantage and they need to have the host chasing the ball here. Just keep it, manoeuvre it forwards, be intelligent, stretch the host, who could well close up shop now. They might well be happy with this point given the fact that they're a player less than the Gunners.
Yeah, just when they made a change, and you mentioned Alexander Pesic with those 6 goals in the league. He's waiting with a couple in European football as well, but now potentially his role will be a little bit different. Let's see how Red Star approach the final 6.5 minutes that we have. Chich won't get to that. Nelson will intercept and race forward. Wilshere calling for it. Walcott wants it as well. Nelson's going to have to go all himself, but the first hurdle falls. Check for holding. Maitland-Niles. Walcott. Wilshere back to goal, claiming handball not given against Wilshere. Wriggles free of 2 challenges, does well, finds Walcott. Is this the moment here for Arsenal? Wilshere again flicks it back towards Walcott, and the improvised effort finds the corner from Olivier Giroud. That is quite spectacular from Arsenal, who take the lead with just 5 minutes remaining.
Oh, what a stunning effort from Olivier Giroud. We've seen him do things like this so often, and that goal is right out of the top drawer. It seemed to be behind him when he received it, but with one acrobatic swick of that left foot, Giroud is there and Arsenal have the lead.
Well, here we go again. Wilshere in between defenders. Walcott involved. Wilshere again. And then Walcott's header, and somehow Olivier Giroud knew exactly where the goal was. Managed to fashion his body into a shape that he could get the shot away and beat Borjan. This is quite brilliant. He is a scorer of spectacular goals, isn't he? It's as simple as that. It's just what he does.
101st in an Arsenal shirt, and I would say that is right up there with the best from Olivier Giroud.
And he scored some brilliant goals, as we know. The Scorpion kick, one of them. He was involved in Jack Wilshere's sensational strike a few years ago now against Norwich, and there was an element of that, wasn't there, in the build-up? Even though it was Walcott that will claim the assist, Jack Wilshere had an awful lot to do with that goal. And here he is again. This is Giroud looking to repay the compliment towards Theo Walcott.
Yeah, Wilshere did brilliantly to set it up. He turned away from 3 players very quickly, took them all out of the game, and it was intricate then, wasn't it, from him and from fellow England international Walcott to set it up for Giroud, but he still had so much to do. An exemplary finish from Olivier Giroud.
You just wonder sometimes how he finds the angles, how he knows exactly where the goal is, exactly what to do, what type of shot. He has got so much in his locker when it comes to situations like that. He sees things that other strikers don't. We know he's not the most mobile. That's not what he's in the team for. He can produce the special moments, and he has done throughout his Arsenal career. Meanwhile, here's an opportunity for Red Star to try and redress the balance and get back on terms, but Kanga's effort always going wide.
Yeah, but that's a wake-up, or should be a wake-up call for Arsenal. Kanga had far too much space, opened his body up. In the end, it was well wide of Czech's goal, but that came from Jack Wilshere losing the ball far too high up the pitch. Just keep the ball now, Arsenal. You're almost there.
Well, what a crucial win this would be if Arsenal can get the 3 points, and they should do now. Remember, a man up, a goal up, and only 2.5 minutes remaining. We might get 4 or 5 of added on time. But the Gunners are big odds on favourites to close this out. 3 wins from 3 in the section would do very nicely indeed. It's worth another look. This is brilliant from Wilshere. The first touch to dive in between those 2 players. Walcott finds Wilshere again. And then it's Walcott's header. And just the improvisation from Olivier Giroud is sensational.
Yeah, it's a quite brilliant move with a magnificent finish. One magical swish of that left boot.
Late change for the Gunners. Willock off, McGuane on. Another one off the conveyor belt, another one that's come through the junior ranks that's impressed. Midfielder, who at one stage was representing the Republic of Ireland, has played for England junior sides recently. Home support is still boisterous, but they haven't really found their voice in the last few moments as much as they did earlier on. Coquelin off, Sheaf on, so we've got a debut for Ben Sheaf.
Yeah, becomes the 849th player to represent Arsenal's first team, Ben Sheaf. He actually started to make his name as a midfielder in Arsenal's youth sides. He's been moved back into more of a centre-back over the last, year or 18 months or so. Joined from West Ham a few years ago and is very highly thought of.
They're claiming handball here, but nothing was given. Sheaf has got involved immediately. Giroud battles, brought down surely. And a yellow card comes out to Serdan Babic. 5 minutes of added on time, that's probably about right. We missed a good 3 minutes when Coquelin was down after the elbow to the side of the head. Oh, a strong challenge coming in. The referee's let that one go. Isticic takes a touch. Donald will help it on. Red Star Belgrade coming forward in numbers. They have to throw caution to the wind here. It's a good run to the byline. Needs an outball. 4 waiting inside the box. So, well, that's a dive. And the referee has said get up. I just wonder if there's going to be a card coming out at some stage. Let's see what Arsenal can do here first. There's all sorts of options for Wilshere. Giroud slips, recovers. Still options on for the Gunners as they look to try and get a second that would surely kill the game. Giroud goes again. Wilshere wants it back. And Walcott was lurking. Sheaf will take over. Now it's with Nelson. Walcott. Chief calling for it inside the penalty area. He's done well, he's done really well. Just couldn't pull the trigger. Wilshere. Still going. Runs into trouble. Red Star struggling to clear their lines. Now they might be able to, though. Kanga. Got Perisic to his left. It's going to be a yellow card. Nelson goes into the book.
Yeah, but good game management there from Reiss Nelson. Sensed the counter-attack and made sure he stopped it. This gives Arsenal a chance to get men back behind the ball. We expect Kanga to pump this one into the box. Wenger sent everyone back, as you might expect. It's late stage here with 3 minutes of stoppage time remaining.
Kanga to flight one in. Perisic has come and claimed. Made it look easy.
Yeah, really good authoritative keeping there. And check. Sense that he could get to the flight of the ball. Managed to do so and just took it really comfortably in the end. More than halfway through this stoppage time now, and Arsenal are doing the right thing. They're just keeping possession. Of course, they have got that extra player now. Just manoeuvring the home side around.
Going to break forward. Giroud wants it. Walcott wide right. Two players have closed in on the youngster. Now it's back with Sheaf to recycle for El Neni. Wilshere. Flick this time doesn't quite come off and it's cleared away. Red Star come forward. See what Perisic can do on the left-hand side. He's a willing runner, but he's got no one in support. It's a good, strong challenge, Debuchy.
He's done well tonight, Debuchy. First game for Arsenal in almost a year, and he's performed really consistently over the course of the 90 minutes. Calm head at the back.
Giroud, Walcott's on the move. Headed back down by Goblic.
He didn't need to play that pass there, Giroud, just needed to hang on to possession, really. As it is, it's set the hosts up for what could be one of their last attacks of the game.
Holding to shepherd out, 1 minute remaining. Arsenal looking good for 3 wins. Just see an incident with Holding, suggesting there's a handball there.
Well, it brushes against his arm, but there's absolutely no question of intent. Definitely didn't do it on purpose.
That's Stojkovic. He threw himself to the ground, although if he'd have tried to take it on, he might have been caught by McGuinn. It's one of those that if the player's more honest, he might get something from it, but the fact that he threw himself on the deck means the referee just waves away any sort of penalty claims.
He needs to be careful there, Marcus McGuinn.
Kanga. Well, they haven't given this one up, Red Star, and that's to their credit, and they'll get one last opportunity to try and get a leveller. Donald to that right-hand side. Stojkovic looks to chip it inside the area. Perisic got half a yard just for a second on El Neni. It's a throw-in and no more. 5 minutes of added on time, he's up. Kanga inside the area, comfortable for Perisic. And that surely will be that. The referee blows for full time. It has been hard fought. It's been dour at times, but the night has been lit up by a quite spectacular winner from Olivier Giroud. Wilshere and Walcott involved. Much appreciation and applause from the sellout crowd in Belgrade, but it's Arsene Wenger's side that will make it 3 wins from 3 in the group. Red Star, you feel, will potentially be the side that will run the Gunners close come the final reckoning. Their support has been excellent here, but Olivier Giroud has trumped them all with a quite sensational strike. He is in mind every now and then of doing something special, and he's done it here once again. He's been good on the European stage. This has been his competition so far this campaign, and it's his goal that has been the difference. Full time, Red Star Belgrade 0, Arsenal 1.
Cheers, Dan. Welcome back to Emirates Stadium. The Gunners win 1-0 in the end then against Red Star Belgrade, and it was won by a moment of absolute footballing magic, wasn't it, Graham? Fabulous strike.
It was, yeah, brilliant. Just a special goal. The team, the build-up play in general, just before the goal. Wilshire's been excellent. Drives with the ball, creates space, beats 2 players, and then his link up with Walcott. And eventually the ball back down to Giroud to finish with a sublime finish.
Yeah, they used the word improvised in the commentary, and that really does describe the effort from Olivier Giroud. He has got this habit of delivering the spectacular for a guy that's a big lump. Let's be perfectly honest. And he hadn't really had a kick in this match so far. We were talking on off air, weren't we, that how quiet Olivier Giroud has been. Then boom, he gives you the one moment that you can really treasure. And those fans that have travelled all the way to Belgrade, they'll just be picturing that goal over and over again, won't they?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was coming in fairness. And Arsenal, I mean, they set the stall in the second half. Yeah. Looked like a completely different team on the front foot, more creative, more direct. Kept the ball much better and created far more chances, and I think in the end it was going to tell. Yeah,
we set the team 2 missions effectively, didn't we, for the second half? We said don't allow yourself to be caught on the counter anywhere near as often. Too vulnerable down the sides. Yeah. Did they do that properly?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, they did. And then, of course, we wanted the front 3, the big guns, Wilshere, Walcott and Olivier Giroud to impact on the game. And ultimately, not just for the goal, all 3 of them were much better. Yeah, definitely. And in general, I think we said also at half-time that we'd like to see Wilshere get more of the ball in central areas. And I think when he'd done that, he looked a severe threat and much more creative in there. Yeah, I think it's a nominal position, isn't it, when you stick Wilshere to the left, in behind a striker. He hasn't got to stay there, has he? No, that's right, yeah. Give him the freedom to roam in between the lines and pick balls up and, in front of their back 4 and behind their midfield and try and create. Does that goal, that wonderful goal, that goal that we'll be talking about for weeks and months to come, does that happen if Jack Wilshere doesn't play? No, not for me. I think he is key in creating goals like that. The fact that he gets a quick free kick, he's able to drive, beat 2 players and straight away the picture opens up and at the end of it you get a delightful goal. Yeah, he was absolutely superb, I thought, in the second half, Jack Wilshere. And as were Arsenal, there's a better tempo about them, wasn't there? We saw Reece Nelson come to the fore, almost scored a goal. Would he be the pick of Arsenal's youngsters today? I'd say so. Yeah, I think that'd be fair. Yeah, he was excellent tonight. Yeah. Who else then will go away from this game thinking, hang on, yeah, I did okay there? I think there'd be a few, maybe not on so much the first half performance. In fairness, I think the first half performance was a little bit subdued, but on the second half, I think collectively as a team, from the keeper all the way to Olivier Giroud, I think everyone was excellent. Well, let's talk about the keeper. We've got a keeper in the building. Petr Cech made a really good save actually in the second half. From the one really sloppy moment from Mohamed El Neni, but a poor back pass, wasn't it? Yeah. And he did his job for the team, Petr Cech. Yeah, he's no frills. He offers you reassurance, and he's commanding. He takes a cross there late on, which is probably not been highlighted a great deal. It looks simple, but in the dire moments of a game, under a lot of pressure, for your keeper to come out and just deal with someone on the edge of the 18-yard box completely relieves the pressure, and that was outstanding. Yeah, I read a piece earlier on today about Petr Cech saying that Arsenal have got a bit of a goalkeeping crisis going on, and I had to respond to it. I had to say, hang on. I think Petr Cech is having a pretty good season. I don't think there's any crisis in the goalkeeping department. Would you have been on my side? I'd definitely be on your side. Yeah, I see absolutely no reason why that would be the case. What about the red card then? You could say it impacted the game. It happened before Arsenal did score the winning goal in the 80th minute. Rogic picks up a straight red for a collision with Francis Coquelin. Now Coquelin has got a black eye. We've seen that. Yeah. But was it a red card offence, in your opinion? No, definitely not. Very soft. Yes, there's been contact. His eyes are firmly fixed on the ball. Makes a genuine attempt to win the ball, but he catches Coquelin in the process, leaving him with a black eye. Yeah, no, I think Red Star Belgrade were pretty unlucky there, weren't they, to suffer that red card. So job done tonight for Arsenal. They're looking ahead now, aren't they, to that game against Everton at the weekend. How are we seeing that? Have any of the players involved tonight that didn't play against Watford, have they earned a place in the team for Goodison Park?
there's an argument to be had for maybe one or two. Certainly Wilshere would be the one for me who would be knocking on the door. And Giroud, obviously, after scoring a goal, I'm sure he'd have one or two things to say about getting the team.
What do we make of Olivier Giroud then? I mean, that would do his confidence the world of good. Yeah. He can't do any more, really, than provide moments like that to remind the manager. But in general play, he does seem a little bit off the pace still. Yeah,
I think he gives Arsenal another option. Yeah. He's another option in terms of being a big target.
What about then the option, if we're going to stick with the back three, could Arsene Wenger say, hang on, let's go 3-5-2 here. Yeah. Let's go 3-5-2, let's play Giroud and Lacazette up top, or maybe Lacazette and Alexis Sanchez up top. Go over midfield three. I'm thinking off the top of my head, Xhaka, Ramsey and Jack Wilshere.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that a team that can maybe get Arsenal out of this little bit of a rut they're in?
It's most definitely a team. I like the sounds of Sanchez and Wilshere in the same team. I think that would certainly get them fired.
But there is one player, one big absentee, and that's Mesut Ozil.
Yeah. Would it be unjustified to leave him out on the strength of the Watford game? Listen, he's a really, really creative player. He's an excellent addition to the team. Yeah. But maybe at the moment with Jack coming back, maybe this is the time to throw him in. Yeah, interesting times. Arsene Wenger's got plenty to ponder ahead of that game against Everton at the weekend. The match stats are in. Let's check them out. Arsenal nick it by 1-0. 11 shots apiece. Arsenal, in the end, had the most on target, and that possession count, 61%. That was about the same for pretty much the 90 minutes. In the first half, Graham, we saw them get countered on. In the second, it didn't really happen. No. I think momentum as well. I think Red Star maybe would have lost as well. The fact the game grew on. I mean, first half, the excitement, the adrenaline. I think overtime, I think that sort of that fell away a little bit. And in the end, I think quality did show.
Absolutely. It is all go here in the Matchday studio at the moment. We'll be back again this Sunday on the 22nd of October for live coverage.